Well, all right there. A very intriguing game and a very not intriguing game. Let's get the whole non bullshit out the way. The Pacers ran up on them and blitzed the hell out of them, and there was nothing that they could do. This basically seemed like when you play the computer and they just get a lead on you and there is nothing you can do. Like there was there was nothing. There it was just so bad that I wanted to turn the game off at halftime, but I was like, hey, you never know. 2 quarters, yeah, they're down like 30. But hey, they get down to, I was like, maybe they get it down to 20, 15. They can at least make it an interesting game. But they won't have. Man, I was like, I got halfway through the third, and I was like, nah, nope. I was like, there's not even any point of watching this to try to come up with any analysis or any thought process. It was really the Knicks was like it was the worst case. It was the worst case scenario. It was the worst case scenario. The Pacers was hitting every shot. Like that's one of them games where it's like the computer cheated. Like there was one with Turner was like 3, 4 feet away from the 3 point line, falling backward, threw the ball up and hit it. Like when it's that type of game, I mean that type of you just know it's GG's at this point. Like, and then on top of that, of them hitting every bucket basically, the Knicks was missing every shot. Don't get me wrong, the Pacers was actually playing like really good defense, something they haven't really been like doing. But at the same time, the Knicks was also missing shots, and it's the shot they've been making the whole series. Hell, actually, you want to say the whole playoffs. A lot of their contested jumpers, especially like Brunson, like, and that's where I think they was. They basically took the head of the snake and they basically took it off. Like one Brunson was over here missing, especially like some gimme shots and some shot that he always makes. Then after that, it was just a wrap because then everybody else couldn't get in rhythm. I was like they were just throwing everybody at him. They put in TJ early with Nimhard. I mean not Nimhard. Uh, Naismith. There we go. Had like left out. I was like he was even missing shots over Nahar a couple of times. There was nothing. I was like there was nothing. I was like TD McConnell was hitting three. Obi Toppin was hitting threes while moving. Uh, I was like everybody surrounded the 3 point shot, and you got Pascal just eating up in the inside. There was nothing. This is one I was like, and it didn't matter that I was like McBride it came in, hit a couple shots, or like Burks. Like at that point, it didn't matter what you was getting. Um, I was I didn't even see if they decided to take Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo out and like let them folks even rest. Which I mean, if he didn't, stupid on him. But that's a game where you just like, nah, we just gonna rest it. We gonna rest it up. We gonna get some good deserved rest. Um, I will say, I was like, cause there's really, like I said, there's really nothing to really get down in the weeds of anything or figuring. No, 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 none of that. But what I will say is that Indiana, I think, is a team we could look at going to the finals. Looking at how they play, their personnel, how they could go about 8 deep, I'm like I was like, don't get me wrong, we've seen like when their defense is there or when they're missing shots. Of course, live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot, that whole thing. But I'm like, they could beat the Celtics. They got enough big men to play with the Celtics. They got enough wing players to also play with the Celtics. They got enough shooters to play with the Celtics. They play fast pace, so it's like they can play with the Celtics on shooting threes and all that other stuff. They do a lot more, I think, running. I think they run more than the Celtics. The Celtics like do a lot of half court shots, and I was like, and their shots are always difficult, tough shots, which sort of has Indiana already being like, well, we done already faced the Magic and we done faced the Knicks, and they don't do nothing but sort of like make difficult contested shots. Like there's none of their stuff is really easy. So the Celtics, I was like, I think it's possible that they could get them if they outlast the Knicks. I think if the Knicks was healthy, they could. I think they could. I think they could get the Celtics, but but I was like, that's where you sort of like I was like, I still favor being big. I do. Like I'm just like everybody in the Celtic lineup is 6'4" or taller, and I'm like, that pretty much like they're starting, small forward and up. I mean down. So, but I think now I'm looking at it, I'm like, and I think Indiana could get the Celtics. They pass the Knicks. I was like, I was like, this series is tough to call just because of the amount of injuries, and I was like, you might just see the fatigue. And I was like, this could have that's Brunson missing all them shots and stuff like that. That sometimes can have it just being tired, where just like you're just not as focused, you're just not getting the lift you needed. And he sort of like messed his ankle up like early in the game. So my point coming away from this game really is that Indiana could end up in the finals after this. The Denver Nuggets game was a more compelling game. They never really got it any lower than like 8 or 6. Anthony Edwards came to ball. He was there. I was like, he took all the onus of showing up, and that was pretty much it. Don't get me wrong, Mike Conley, I was like helped out a lot, but I was like, especially at this juncture of his career, you can't have Mike Conley be basically like your second best player on the squad. I was like, Nas Reed has sort of slowed down a bit. I was like, but he's getting time. He's still getting timely buckets, but it's still not all the way there. But I was like, let's be honest, it's Karl Anthony Towns. I was like, he was back to being that. Like he was. I like he wasn't really getting in crazy foul trouble, but I will say I was like, you could see it there, like him doing he was doing some stupid fouls. I'm not gonna lie, but also something that they didn't call that I'm like, man, that would be a stupid foul that you are committing. Also too, I was like he would just sort of take a jump shot just to take them instead of like being in the flow of anything. I was like, you could tell it wasn't there because he was missing free throws, like short too. Like Rudy missing free throws, I'm like, okay, cool, that's part of the course with Rudy. But Karl was missing free throws and they would just like wind up short. And not like he was like overshooting and hitting the backboard, they were like bouncing around. I was like, no, he was like coming up short with him. I was like, I think they really surrounded him and they was flustering him. Like they was really getting him back into that mode where he was doing a lot more whining about stuff. And I'm not saying that some of it wasn't warranted, but it's almost like the same thing with Jamal Murray earlier in the series. That it's like that type of like whining and all that stuff that takes you out of your own game and messes you up. And I was like, then you didn't get nothing from anybody else because at that point too, it's like you also need something from McDaniels, and McDaniels isn't getting you anything. And it wouldn't be so bad if their defense wasn't discombobulated. Like they're like that's to me is sort of also like where they're messing up at, because they're just sort of like they're either not taking shots or they're taking bad shots. And to me, a lot of that's where it's like how their defense is poor. Like they're not as active as much. I was like they're still sort of following Murray around, but Murray has pretty much got back on his like hot streak. But I was like, they're not being as active, but they're also not being disciplined on a lot of their stuff. Like a lot of stuff we see in the other game where it's like, and I think some of their stuff is stupid. Like I'm like, I get very irritated of them double teaming Jokic, and also they also double team Gordon, and they're also double teaming Murray. And I was like, look, you only could pick one of these people to double team. But guess what? When you shade over here and stuff like that, now you got Aaron. Like Michael Porter really had a good series this game. But guess who had Aaron Gordon, because y'all done sort of let up And my thing is that the way y'all were playing like the first couple games, guess what? If Aaron Gordon beats you, let Aaron Gordon beat you. But don't let Aaron Gordon be a contributor. He's like, I was like, he's been over here like 20 plus points the last couple games. I was like, hell, it wasn't like till late in the fourth quarter that he missed a shot. And to me, I'm like, you got him going. And I was like, and the key factor really to also some of this, really to be honest, like I'll get to Murray and Jokic in a minute, but it's Justin Holiday. He's really been the one I think that has really been getting them over the hump. I was like, he's been the consistency that they needed. Cause you see, they ain't playing Peyton Wallace. I was like, Chris Bronner, they giving him some run, but you can. I was like, yeah, and he like anything he sort of gives you is luxury. The same thing with Holiday, because you sort of got him as there as like, yes, he's shooting three, but you also got him there as a long arm defender, and he's like, and he's been in the league in like 45 years. So you get he does him on the court isn't. I was like, it shouldn't be a negative. Like kind of like at least at worst end he knows where to sort of be. Where like Watson, it's like. You got to use him at certain times. But I think to me, he's been the one that sort of has kept them afloat in situations just because, or got them going when sometimes they was like, when like things a little sluggish, I was like, he's open, he's ready to go. Because you're not getting production like really out of Caldwell Pope of like offense. In the same way and stuff like that. So I think give him a shout out. Now, other than Aaron Gordon, Murray has been on fire the last two games. I was like, he's been hitting shots and stuff like that. He's sort of figuring out how to shoot over all these long arm ass of people. Which I was like, I didn't think he was gonna play bad again. But to me, I think he's really the guy that you really got to shut down. Like I said, Aaron Gordon gives you the points, fine. You can't have him be a contributor with the other ones that are also going crazy. To me, Jamal Murray is really the key to the whole thing. And I was like, the reason I say that is because, I was like, getting to this, Jokic, great game. I was like, I'm over here. Sometimes I'm the resident Jokic hater, I guess, or whatnot. That's just because everybody praised him, even when he had a mediocre game, but nobody ever crushes him when he has a mediocre game or lower. And I'm just like, that's not. I was like, I don't see how that's fair in comparison to everybody else. But hey, 3-time MVP, can't talk about him. But he played an excellent game today. I was like, and by that I mean, I felt like he actually put like the team on his back. Not saying he doesn't do things to help his team win. Not saying he's not the reason sometimes that his team wins. But there's a difference between when you that dude, you put the team on the back. Think about how we talk about Anthony Edwards. We don't really talk about Jokic like that. We talk about how he's like the best player in the NBA. He's phenomenal, all this other stuff. But nobody talks about him like that. You talk about some other people like that, but you don't. Like I said, we don't give criticism to him. I was like, we praise them, but we also don't really talk about him in a way of that guy, like how we have with Giannis, like how he was in the finals, or how we've been talking about Ant-Man. Like, and to me, that's because he doesn't necessarily put the team on his back like that. Tonight he did. I was like, he was aggressive. I was like, he was taking the shots. I was like, especially like what he did, like that dunk. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, not saying that he got to come out here and just start dunking on people. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm like, that level of that's what I'm talking about. And I'm like, not that, I get it. He doesn't have to prove it to me or anybody else or that other type of thing. He just got to do what his team takes to win. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes you need to also show everybody and tell everybody, no, this is my damn court. And that's what I'm saying that he sort of did tonight. Especially, I feel like because Anthony Edwards was balling so much that he was really keeping them close, then they should have got their ad blown out. To be honest, the way that his team, the way Anthony Edwards' team is playing, that just tells you how good Anthony Edwards was playing tonight. That he pretty much had that team that close when Jokic was balling, Gordon was balling, Murray was balling, Holiday was getting in shots. I was like, Braun was over here, like Brown or whatever how you pronounce his name. Like that, they had their whole chemistry with that team going while Timberwolves wasn't. So to me, I was like, I give props to Jokic and Murray for figuring out that tandem. They're gonna have to. I was like, and I'm not gonna lie that sometimes watching Gobert, I think it actually might sometimes be better if they don't play him. But, or at least don't play him with Jokic. Like, to me, I'm like, cool, start the game, whatever. But I think you should split it up to where it's Reeves and Anthony at Towns, Reed or Towns, or just Gobert. Just because, like, I do get it of him and the defense, but it's just like, I'm like, I just think, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see him as a, he doesn't seem as great of a fit with Jokic sometimes because it's like, Jokic just sort of like, once Jokic sort of figured your ass out, I was like, he sometimes just be having Gobert looking dumb. Gobert be over here like a ballerina. He just be pirouetting and just doing spins and stuff like that. Like, he be over here. I was like, I thought he was Simone Biles the way that he be having Gobert doing gymnastics sometimes. Where I'm just like, what's the point of you being 7'4" if you can't stop this 7-foot dude that can't get off the ground, that ain't, you ain't even falling for a pump fake, then yeah, he's still getting layups on you. And I'm not saying that Karl-Anthony Towns is necessarily defensive stopper guy, but I think he's girthier, and I think he's a lot more athletic. And also, too, he's sort of just a pest. You sort of see him with the way he reaches in the ball and stuff like that. I think that he's a better matchup for Jokic. And the thing is that nobody's going to stop Jokic. That's not like, yes, he can have a bad game, but nobody's going to really stop Jokic. So my thing is that that's why, one, you don't double team him. You stay at home with everybody else, and you stay on everybody else, because let him do what he do. And I was like, to be honest, also sometimes, let Jamal Murray go over here, take his shots or whatever like that. Because, yeah, sometimes he might be on fire. We've seen that sometimes. But sometimes he also just missed, because that's what he sort of does. So I'm like, stop. I was like, stop doing all this double teaming. You don't need it. It's beneath you. You don't need to do that. But yeah, I was like, just let Jokic sort of get his, let him struggle. Cause I was like, sometimes Jokic will also, like, he had a great game tonight, and that's why I won't give him props. But I was like, sometimes he misses a lot of those shots too, like, So I'm like, you like play the odds. Like, yeah, he gets in the paint, it's a wrap. He's not gonna miss. He's gonna make you all that stuff. But I'm like, that's what they were sort of doing in the first two games, that they sort of lost their way here. I was like, they stopped being pestering around. They stopped being around him or surrounding him and stuff like that. Their timing is off with getting them and things like that. But anyway, I was hoping that the Wolves would take hold of this series, but they haven't. But it's fine. We're getting the series. I still think the Wolves will get it down. I just guess now it might be 7 games here. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, until then, next series. I mean, not series, game. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.